everybody. Welcome to session 4 for July, our last month before the harvest season begins. Can you believe it? It's like I always take a deep breath before Lammas. Because literally at Lammas, I blink and it's Christmas, and I'm like, wait, how did that happen? So I see you. And hopefully you have your tools for tonight. I know they've all been shipped, so I don't know if everybody has them because it's weird right now. Sage Goddess receives about half of the shipments that were planned for us. So like your tools, your daily products, like literally we, because of the pandemic, we only get about 50% of the shipments that we're supposed to receive at any one time. So you're not the only one who's having shipping issues. But anyway, whether you have your tools or not, I hope you're excited for class tonight. I get to teach you a little bit. And do you need to be here, Meg Murphy? If you don't have tools, you don't have to be here, but I would love for you to stay. You know, I always think there's value in the energy, and I have some stuff to teach you that doesn't have anything to do with your tools. But if you'd rather not, you know what I mean? If you don't have your tools, you won't hurt my feelings, so it's completely up to you. But I'm very happy to see you. All the tools have left the shop to my knowledge, so it may be a USPS update thing. Yeah, which is not super fun, I know, but we're doing the best we can. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're excited. Yeah, and if you decide you want to wait until you have your tools to do tonight's class, I'm totally okay with that too, you know? I know. Well, I warned you, Sharon, not to get tired of me just yet, because it's a lot. So we have class today, session 4. Tomorrow we have Perfume Around the World, and then Sunday we have Lammas. So there's still a lot to do, a lot to learn, a lot to talk about. And yeah, and Karen is affirming for us that USPS is still having its challenges too. You learn to breathe through it, you know, somehow. We're all going through it at the same time. Yeah. I know. It's been a good teacher this whole time of like being in the moment and just allowing what's happening to happen. And so anyway, it's up to you. It's up to you how you want to work with class, and if you're open to just being here and being in the flow and hanging out, I think that would be really cool. Yeah. How are you? It's really nice to see you. So we have a lot to talk about tonight. I did not get my tool. One of the tools in your kit is the Pleasure Massage Oil, and I didn't get that in my tools. So I let Team SG know, because, you know, I can handle a pleasure massage. I was like, well, I guess Dave and I will have to sort that out another time. I didn't get my massage oil. It's okay. I'm not massaging you tonight, and I'm not going to massage myself. Tonight what we're doing is we are crafting our passion pillow. This little bag may not look like much, but can I tell you how hard it was to get this for you? You know what I mean? It really was. It's just hard to get anything right now, but so we had these little bags made, and then we wanted to have it zip, so that was a whole situation. But my intention for this, and I'm going to use mine, and I hope you'll use yours if you're making it with me. My intention for this, what you received from me this month is a bag of crystals and some ribbon, a bag of herbs, which I will walk you through tonight. You got a little extra dram of oil for tonight's little pleasure crafting. And if you have any of your oils left from our perfuming, which I have a couple of my oils left from my kit, then you're welcome to grab that too. Yeah. I finally was able to get my jojoba oil open, so I'm gonna cut my ecstasy blend finally with you. And if you have your candle, you're welcome to light that candle now and keep it burning through our time together tonight. I love it, so you're welcome to light yours too. So tonight what we're doing, and session 4 has begun. That's your pleasure pillow, darling. That pillow, what I'm going to do with it is put it in my pillowcase. I use big pillows on my bed, king size pillows, because I'm one of those people who likes the body pillows. You know, I have one behind my head and one that I kind of hold and another one on the other. I like literally have a fortress of pillows. Dave has always said he hates it. My husband sleeps with one pillow. And it's a small, I call it his little shitty pillow. It's shitty, it's small, and it's all he needs. I have to have like 19 pillows. I have to have one behind me, one to the left side, one to the right side, one that I hold. I have an absolute fortress. So I don't know how you are. Maybe you're more like Dave, where you have one pillow, or maybe you're more like me, where you have a pillow fortress. So that's going to go in my pillowcase, that little pleasure pillow. You can put it under your pillow. You can put it next to your bed. Now, I seriously, Dave is like, look at you over there. And I'm like, you know what? It's my fortress. And if I decide to let you in, I will move a pillow. Otherwise, you stay over there on your side. This all started, by the way, when I was pregnant, because I had terrible sciatic pain when I was pregnant with my kids. For whatever reason, my kids, when I was pregnant, just decided to sit on my sciatic nerve, both of them. And Nick used to get his foot caught in my rib. If you haven't been pregnant, it's a very unique experience. I used to lay in bed at night and Dave would look over at me and I was like, and he would go, is his foot stuck in your rib again? And I would be like, and then Nick would be inside of me going like this, like trying to get his foot out of my rib. And I would be sitting there going like this. And then he would finally get his foot out. It happened like every 2 weeks. And then I would go, but literally Dave would be like, oh shit, his foot is in your ribs again. And I'd be like, so anyway, I would turn and kind of, I mean, you know, when you're pregnant, it's like a beached kind of whale situation. I would turn and like try to lay with my body pillow. Did that happen to you too? You don't know pain until somebody has their foot stuck in your rib cage. And Dave would be like, are you okay? And I'm like, don't talk to me right now. I can't breathe. He's lucky he has a sibling, because I was like, if this happens to me anymore, I will never have any more children. Isn't that funny? And then they kick your bladder, or they sit on your bladder. Yeah, Zoe used to push her foot down on my bladder, and I'd be like, I'll be right back, I have to go to the bathroom. The miracle of all that things we do. Anyway, if you haven't been pregnant yet, I hope that wasn't birth control for you, but it was not fun, I will just tell you, but I have an incredibly high pain threshold, and I think I probably needed to in order to survive that experience. Not fun, but now you know what my pregnancies were like. But I love him, and I'm so happy that they're not inside of me anymore and they can't do those things. But I see you if you went through that too. So tonight what we're talking about, let me just explain to you. We're doing this phase of alchemy that we're in, called conjunction. Conjunction, junction, what's your function? Hooking up the divine masculine with the feminine. It's not a great song, but it's the best I can do for you. So we're doing conjunction work in July, and then that will continue into August, and then we'll move into the final and remaining stages of alchemy in September through December. So this little passion pillow can go wherever you need it to go. We're going to do a lot of intention work as we craft this little pillow together tonight, right? Yeah, and if you're not physically having children, let me just tell you, you're mothering the planet in some other way. So maybe you can live vicariously through my description of pregnancy and then enjoy your own experience of maternity. I've never met anyone who wasn't, in my opinion, a parent, truly, whether it's physical or energetic. Everybody is a parent in some way. You're caretaking, you're looking after, you're loving, you're sustaining. You might be parenting the planet, you might be parenting children, you might be parenting fur babies, you might be parenting, I don't know, your fellow citizens on the planet, and you might be pregnant with art, right? I mean, but everybody I know, everybody I've ever known is parenting in one way or another. So whether you create life through your physical vessel or not, it doesn't really matter. And what I have found too is that every form of parenting is sacred. If you're caretaking another human or the planet or the four-leggeds, who frankly need parenting more than anyone because they can't speak for themselves. They can't speak up. One of the reasons I'm such an advocate of animals and their well-being is they can't complain. They can't tell you that they need help and that they're hungry or whatever it is. So I think that the four-leggeds and the winged ones and the finned ones need our care in some ways more than the human ones, right? Ooh. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that, Kaz, that Sienna was super happy about her necklace. That makes me really happy. So thank you for being here in whatever capacity you're creating and bringing life to our universe, because you're doing a beautiful job. Karen's first grandchild's going to be here in 6 days or less. One of the great joys of my life was having a child and seeing my parents enjoy being grandparents. Truly, truly. My mom is in a lot of pain, in these years, and can't enjoy it the way she used to. But in the early years, when it did fill her with joy, that was one of the great joys of my life too. It's true. I often think about it. I look at Bodhi even, and I look at him and I think, like, I'm so glad he found us, because I've seen a lot of animals end up with people who don't look after them or take care of them or, pay attention to them, and that's a great sadness too. Yep, I know. Anyway, we could go on about that forever. So I want to talk to you about conjunction tonight. I want to talk to you about Kundalini energy tonight. If you have a mala, I would like for you to go and get it. Because I want to teach you a new mantra tonight. There's 2 mantras I'm going to teach you tonight that are often worked with in Kundalini yoga. And so I thought I would share those mantras with you this evening and see if you want to do a little mala work to recite those mantras with me. Yep. So I think that'll be good for us too. And then we will craft our pillows together. I also want to leave time tonight, if it's okay with you, for some Q&A. Just what's on your mind. I know I do the coaching session every month, and that gives you a chance to ask questions, and I go in and record the answers, and I love it, and I think you love it, and it's a super cool part of our teaching. But it's kind of fun to respond to you live, and to give you a chance live to say, hey, this is what's on my mind, or what do you think about that? So I'm going to try to stop our formal work together tonight around 5:30 and just leave time to hang for these last few days of July, so that we can have some conversation and I can see what's on your mind and respond to any questions that you have. You need a mala? I have, by the way, I have 24 of these left. If you'd like one, they're at sagegoddess.com. I will tell you, everything's 20% off with code 20harvest, and you have until midnight. You know about this, right? So this I bought for Soul Shift. This is a match to my hummingbird drum. And I'm giving this away on Friday. Is it midnight tonight or midnight Thursday, Alexis? There's 2 hummingbirds outside as I'm telling you about the drum. So if you shop at sagegoddess.com and you comment on the post in Soul Shift, one of you is going to win this drum. It's hand painted with light codes on the mallet and also on the drum itself. And it's a match to my drum. She only had 2, so I'm like, let me buy both of them. I'm going to give one to one of my students. So anyway, if you shop, Alexis will tell us if it's midnight tonight or midnight tomorrow. I can't remember. It's midnight tonight. You'll enter to win the drum. And super excited for whoever wins it. But just a reminder. Yeah, so if you haven't shopped, once class is over, you'll have until midnight. There's a lot of cool things. Did you see these today? I designed this, so I'm kind of excited about it. You know how I get when it's something that, there's a lot of intention behind it. This is the Healer's Orgone Pyramid. Did you see these today? So it's copper on the bottom, bloodstone for pain relief, the caduceus, which represents healing through the chakra system, and then a green fluorite Merkaba floating in the middle. Isn't that cool? If you're a crystal healer and you have a little healing altar or something like that, this would be a cool addition to it. So there's a couple of interesting things. If you didn't get the holder for your gateway perfumes, you may want to go and grab that. That'll be your enter to win. Gemstone purchases don't count for enter to wins, unfortunately. because it's a different system, so my team can't keep track of it. I wish that it's a totally different system, and my team would literally run screaming from the building if I told them that they had to track things in 2 different places. So yeah, we can only validate your purchases from stagegoddess.com. But Carrie, there's no minimum purchase. So if you go and get a $1 tumbled stone, that counts. So we try to make it easy, which is good because you don't have to spend as much. Like the gem sale purchases are usually a little bit more expensive, so you're super welcome. So anyway, and you don't have to shop. I just want to make sure you knew about the drum because later people will come to me and go, I didn't know there was an enter to win, so I want to make sure you knew about that. Yeah, so if you shopped, I think I showed this to you 2 days ago. Did I, Alexis? Today's Wednesday. So if you shopped Monday or Tuesday or today, you're already entered. So Wanda's asking, what if I shopped yesterday? As long as you commented on the post, Wanda. There's a post in Soul Shift. So if you shopped yesterday, you can go and comment today and say, hey, Athena, I shopped Tuesday and here's what I got. Or hey, Athena, I shopped Monday and here's what I got. Does that make sense? So you don't have to shop today. It's just you have to do something this week. So Monday counts, Tuesday counts, today counts. Oh, and it's midnight Thursday, so tomorrow counts. I just work here. What the hell do I even know? I thought it might have been Thursday because I think we're announcing it Friday. This anniversary week's been really busy and I'm jet lagged. So anyway, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, but you have to comment on the post in Soul Shift. Yeah. Alexis, would you mind linking to the post? Oh, she just did. She as soon as I said that, I look up, she's already done it. So Alexis pinned the link. No, you don't have to say when, just what. Yeah, well, I mean, I think you can enter as many times as you want, but as long as you as long as you comment on the post, that's all that matters. I don't think that you need to comment on a post. Can you clarify? Yeah, there is a post. That's what I'm saying right now. Yeah, thank you for asking that, Jenny. So Alexis has posted it twice now, the link to the post. Do you see Alexis? It says Sage Goddess with a gold box. That's where you need, so click where that says you can enter to win the drum here and click on that and then it'll take you to the post. I only have one of the drums, so, and that was something special for the anniversary. Too much celebrating last night. We had a lot of fun. If you missed last night, you can always go and watch it. Actually, I only had about 1.5 shots of whiskey yesterday, which is pretty lightweight for me. But I've really cut back my alcohol consumption a lot. Yeah, so if you don't want to shop or you can't shop or whatever, don't worry. But there's no minimum purchase. Literally, somebody bought a 75-cent piece of sugilite to enter. Great, you know what I mean? There's no minimum purchase. So, but if you don't want to shop for any reason, I want to encourage you to not shop. Maybe the drum is for somebody else. So good luck, everybody. Wasn't it fun? We had so much fun singing songs and like talking about old shows and like all the things with you last night. I really had a lot of fun. But yeah, after we were done, I was like, wow, I thought I was going to drink more whiskey than that. You and I together, Alexis drank about like 1/3 of the bottle. So that was 1.75 shots for me. Did you have your share of it, Sheila? Oh, for goodness sake. Now I'm not drinking, or I'm trying not to drink until the end of the Lion's Gate, so we'll see if I make good on that promise. So let's talk about things first, and then we'll craft, and then we'll do Q&A. Does that make sense? Is that a good order of operations for you? Okay. Where do I begin? So let me rewind it back a little bit to kind of break things down. Yeah, my shirt's from Etsy, by the way. I can find the specific shop if you want. I really liked it. I like to buy my clothes on Etsy from artists because I like to support artists and their work. So I thought it was really cute, and I love that they did the moon phases under my boob on that side, and then on top of the boob on the other side. I thought that was really cute. So let me rewind it back. When we when we get to this phase of alchemy where we are right now in conjunction, which is kind of the middle of the process, middle to like second half of the process, let's put it that way. Brain candy, thank you for that. I always forget what it's called. Have you found brain candy on Etsy yet? I hate to tell you that because it's a little addictive, but their art is magnificent and the quality of their clothes is amazing. Brain candy, I think that's the name of the shop. Brain candy? They have like crystal clothes and like all kinds of things. I don't know them. I really don't know like the owners behind the shop or anything, but I just admire them. I think they're doing a great job. Yeah, the Lionsgate's affecting you, Jess. Yeah, so check out Brain Candy on Etsy. I think you'll like them a lot. They do a really nice job. When we get to this phase of alchemy, this is, in some ways, this is a reward for all the hard work you've done up to this point. In other ways, this is the hardest part of the whole thing. Okay, it is. Let me give you an analogy. You know, that's how I learn, is when people give me examples or kind of use visuals. Let me give you an analogy. So, when we get to this place, you know, think about cleaning your house. Okay, I clean a lot. When we were going through the pandemic, the original like first 6 months of it, I really took that opportunity to organize my house a lot. I went room by room, and I took all the shit out of cabinets. I took all the shit out of the drawers. I really did. I went through Zoe's room. I went through Nick's room. I have a little hope chest of stuff from when the kids were babies. I went through all that. And the first thing I did was I pulled all this shit out of everywhere. And I remember Dave, who's a double Virgo, looking at me and going, "This is a shithole mess." And I was like, "No, but I'm going somewhere. Okay, go with me for the journey. It looks really bad right now, but it's all going to be so much better when I'm done." And he was like, "Okay, but it looks like a shithole right now." I'm like, "I know, but you just have to like trust the process." And I remember getting everything out and looking through it and sifting and sorting and trying to figure out what I wanted to keep and what I wanted to throw away. And then I was like, the hardest part was putting stuff back in, right? This is the putting stuff back in phase, conjunction. This is, okay, I've gone through calcination, right? I've gone through all of the phases now of burning things down and rinsing them out and deciding if, yes, I want this, no, I don't want that. And I'm looking at my pile of stuff, okay? And now I'm looking and I'm like, I gotta decide what goes back in the cabinet. And the work of conjunction, this is the hardest part, is technically you gotta put it all back. In conjunction, we don't really throw stuff away. We decide to reevaluate it. We decide to look at it and go, I think I could use you, but for something else, right? So I always thought I needed to use you for X, now I'm gonna try to use you for Y. Or I thought I didn't want that thing, but what if I tell myself that maybe that thing has a use in some other way? So then I was like, I don't want to put it back in, right? That's exactly right. Now I don't want to do this part. I don't want to do the putting back part. That's not the fun part. The fun part is taking it all out and cleaning it and organizing it, but then it's like, oh my God, I got to put it all back. We're in the, oh my God, I've got to put it all back phase, okay? And some people are struggling a little bit at this point because it's like, the natural inclination is to want to throw away things that don't fit. And if I tell you, you need to look at it again. You need to look at it again and say, does it really not fit, or is it that I don't want it to fit? Does it really not fit? Is it really not useful? Is it really not part of who I am? Or do I just not want to expend the effort it's going to take to figure out how to reintegrate that? Does that make sense? It's the best analogy I have, you guys. It may not be the perfect analogy for you, but that's where I'm at. All the shit is out of my closet, and now I've got my husband going, great, so clean this shit up, and I'm like, oh, can somebody else do it? I want to run away. So we can't run away. We have to do the work, and so when I got to that phase of cleaning during the pandemic, I decided, you know what, I'm going to turn on some good music, and I'm going to fucking do this. I'm going to put all this stuff back in, but I'm going to do it in an organized way. It's never going to be that much of a mess again, right? Rena says it's your favorite part. Well, you know what? I will hire you to come and do that for me, Rena, because it's my least favorite part. When I get my shit out, I gotta put it back. So right now, all of our shit is out, right? Like, it's all sitting there, and now it's like, so what am I gonna do with it now? One of the things for me, I know. Well, listen, Rena says she loves it, so Rena's gonna now be working full time, putting our shit away for for us. But in all seriousness, right, it is not the easiest part of the process. You may think it's going to be easy because you're like, oh, well, I've decided now. I want this, I don't want that. I want this, I don't want that. I can use this, I can't use that. But there's a real resistance, right? Now you're tired, to Cynthia Coutret's point. Now you're tired, I'm tired. I've been through a lot. I've been looking at this shit for 6 months, and now I got to go, okay, so how do I put this back in a good way? Tonight, as we put our bag together, this was my intention anyway for the craft. Let's see how it works. You can use the little stones in your bag that you got to decorate your wand, the wand that we activated during our ceremony on Monday, or you can decorate it however you wish, or not decorate it. I'm choosing not to decorate mine. Candidly, I'm more likely to use this wand if it's not decorated. Team SG made this one and I love it. I really, really do. But I'm more likely to use this if there isn't a bunch of stuff on it, and I do want to work with this as a working tool. So I'm not going to be decorating my own wand. I did want to show this to you though, because it can inspire you to wire wrap it, put your ribbons on it, attach feathers to it. You can take that and zhuzh it right up and make it, you know, what Team SG made it. Or you can simply choose to keep your wand like I am and just keep it clear. When I'm doing real crystal healing, I don't necessarily want a bunch of crystals and ribbons and things. When I'm really working with something as a tool, I like to keep it a little bit clean. Okay, so what I'm going to do tonight, you see all these little stones in my bag? Every one of these stones is going to go in my passion bag, or as many of them as I need. And each one of them is going to be part of my masculine or part of my feminine in the act of reclaiming these parts of me that need to be put back in. And I'm going to go masculine, feminine, masculine, feminine, masculine, feminine. And I want to encourage you to do the same, because the idea is that through the creation of this bag that we are going to balance the yin and the yang, right? Yin energy is feminine energy, yang energy is masculine energy. Yin is lunar, yang is solar, right? So tonight the whole idea is that this bag comes to represent, and it could be a pretty emotional process, at least for me, this bag is going to represent what for me is the hardest part of the alchemical process, which is acknowledging and owning and reclaiming and repatriating stuff that I maybe would rather have gotten rid of, but instead kind of asking myself, but can you find a home for it? Can I find a home for my anxiety? Ooh. Can I find a home for my stubbornness? Can I find a home for my grief? Can I find a home for my longing? Can I find a home for my loneliness? Can I find a home for my resentment? Can I find a home for my frustration? Or can they be teachers to me? And so as I put each piece back in my bag tonight, you know, it's a metaphorical exercise, but as I put each stone back in and I name what it is on the masculine, on the feminine, on the masculine, on the feminine, I'm kind of agreeing to say yes to these parts of myself that I would much rather just put in the commode and flush it away, right? But we can't. And I think the real work of spiritual healing is to finally look at yourself. I mean, Jolene, oh my God. She said, can I integrate my, can I find a home for my husband? Look, I'm going to put Dave in here, Jolene, and you and I will sort this out. Karen's laughing with you too. The real, for me, real deep spiritual work, the non-bypassing, work, is to find a home for all of it. How many of you, I'm just curious, those of you who are live right now, how many of you who are live right now, that's fucking funny, isn't it? We're all the same, I'm telling you, we are all the same. How many of you who are live right now, if you're really being candid, struggle with this process of finding a home for it all? How many of you who are alive right now really know what the parts of you are that you would rather push away? How many of you feel like you really know? I feel like I really know mine at this point. The stuff in me where I'm like, I wish I wasn't like that, I wish I didn't do that, I wish I didn't think that way. Like, how many of you feel like you really know what all the mucka yuck is, right? So at this point, I know all the things about me that I don't like, that aren't great. I'm going to be honest tonight and talk about them. Maybe you want to talk about yours. I don't know. To me, this is that and I'm going to be honest with you too. I am someone who's been in therapy of one kind or another since I was in my early 20s, up until this past couple of years, when I work with someone who's a therapist, but I don't work with her as a therapist. I work with her as an energy worker. And she said to me about a year ago, she's like, I think you finally, in some ways, graduated from therapy. This is an interesting statement. And she said, because you're really at a point now where you're just completely honest with yourself and everyone around you. And the goal of therapy, I think, is to really know who you are, to accept who you are, to make peace with it, and to make peace with the people around you and the world around you. As long as we are in battle with ourselves, with the world around us, with the people around us, as long as we resist what's on our plate and we don't want to eat that for dinner, I think that's a lot of times why we need a therapy, right? Is because we need somebody who can guide us through the resistance. And when we finally stop resisting and just go, this is who I am. I know I'm not perfect. I know exactly where I need to work. I know exactly what my weaknesses and challenges are. I'm trying to do the best I can to get better at those, right? And she said that's when you move from needing therapy to needing energy work, just to maintain, you know what I mean? It's not so much like sorting it out anymore. I don't need to talk to anybody anymore about my challenges in my past. Like I've excavated, I've done the roto-rooter, but now what I need is to maintain the candor, right? So I'm a big proponent of therapy, but I don't actively do therapy anymore because I feel like I've gotten to a point where I need more energy work than therapy. But that journey of doing therapy for 20 years for me was really about getting to a point where I was honest with myself. To thine own self be true. And when you finally get to a point where you are not telling yourself stories anymore that aren't true, right? When you finally get to the point where you're like, I've dug as deep as I can and I know what's there and I'm ready to deal with it, right? I love that. Sharon said she learned to stop apologizing. That's a big one too, right? Because a lot of us go through our life just going, I'm sorry. See, I love that. And Londa says she doesn't struggle with this part of alchemy at all because she accepts herself completely. She's done the hard work of healing her stuff. I will say I feel the same way, except Londa, and this may be different for you. The reason I still have to continue to do energy work, and you may feel like you're in a different place, I'm still surrounded by human beings doing human things, and so I still have to constantly clear and attend to energies around me. So even though I've done all of the deep, heavy lifting for myself in this lifetime, I'm still constantly in an energetic soup of stuff that I have to slough off and clear out and acknowledge and inventory and articulate, and you know what I mean? So I still go through these cycles where I have to explore, acknowledge, purify, transmute, and reintegrate. Explore, acknowledge, purify, transmute, and reintegrate because I'm in relationship with a lot of different people who are in different places on their own journey, right? And it's very easy for me to take on other people's stuff. So now the real work for me anyway, again, you guys might be at a different place on your journey. The real work for me is not taking on other people's stuff and being able to look and say, that's not mine. This is mine, but that's not mine. Right? So like, how do I, and then being able to acknowledge, again, differentiate, explore, excavate, parse out, right? Transmute whatever I'm taking on, and then reintegrate the bits and pieces into something that feels whole and complete. So that for me continues, it is the work that continues. The work that doesn't continue is I've made peace with my parents, I've made peace with my siblings, I've made peace with my husband, I've made peace with, you know what I mean? Like all of that stuff that a lot of us typically go into therapy for, that stuff I'm good. It's the rest of it. It's the living human beings who come in and out of my life who present the deeper challenges. Yeah. Yeah, soul shift is cheaper than therapy too. You know what's funny is the woman I work with who is a therapist, but she's an energy worker. She's remarkable, and I think I've shared a little bit about her with you before. She is a therapist to other therapists, and I have learned so much from that. Isn't that a fantastic concept? She doesn't work with people who are not therapists. So her expertise is in helping the therapist not take on his or her or their clients' challenges. So that's her area of expertise, and that's one of the reasons I love her so much, is because when I say something to her, she can instantly go, but you know that's not yours, right? And help me like keep from contracting on it. That is a whole different separate challenge. And those of you who are stepping into roles as teachers and as coaches and as mentors and as, you know, practitioners and all the different roles that you play, once you have mastered your own stuff, then the real mastery becomes, now how do I not take on other people's stuff as my own stuff? How do I draw that line between what's me and what's you? And that continues to be a challenge area for me sometimes. Yeah. I will say she made me cry a lot of times during the pandemic, and not because of anything related to me, but she shared with me that her schedule was booked out 12 months in advance. It was the first time she said that had ever happened. That her clients who are therapists said to her, this is such a challenging time through the pandemic. They were booking her out almost a year in advance so that they wouldn't not have time with her, because these people who are providing therapy needed therapy so badly. She said it was the first time I've had clients go, can we just go ahead and book out for the whole year? And she's like, it's huge right now. So anyway, if you, I do want to validate, if you are feeling like you're having a hard time or you're overwhelmed or you're struggling, maybe this doesn't help you, but it sure helps me to know you are not the only one. Therapists will tell you, energy workers will tell you that the line has never been longer to see them, that their clients are booking out a year in advance, that there's so much anxiety. Even if people look like they're managing it pretty well, the subterranean stuff that's going on is really intense. And so coaches, therapists, healers, energy workers, Reiki masters, their workload has really increased this year because people need support. So, thank you for that, Jake. You just have no idea how grateful I am to hear you and see you. And I'm not a therapist. I do have a lot of training in psychology. I have a PhD in education and all. I took all my electives in adult and developmental psychology, so I have a lot of training. But I always like to put that caveat that I'm not a therapist. I just play one on TV. But those of you who are licensed therapists, and we have quite a few in our community too, it's always a huge compliment that you guys are here. And I learned so much from you too. I really do. So I hope you know that as well. But this year in particular has stressed therapists to the max. And so therapists need their own therapist to be able to navigate that. Well, I just adore you and I'm thankful, right? Yeah. Well, and I will say, I think there is, this is me personally, I think there is no shame in the game. I always tell people, I love therapy. There was a time in my life where I needed antidepressants. Like, I think whatever you need to get through the times in your life, I think you do it. And there's absolutely no, never shame in reaching out for help, asking for help, whether it's talk therapy or medicinal therapy of any kind. I think right now it's about getting what you need and finding out how to get what you need and where to get it in a good way so that you can continue on this path and be as healthy as you possibly can. I think it's really important. So I try to normalize therapy and medicine and everything, because I think people sometimes they have some shame around it, and I just think we can't be that way. And if I ever decide I need talk therapy again or whatever else, I won't hesitate to do it, right? I think it's very important. Your mental health is just as important as your physical health. It's just as important as your spiritual health. And if you find somebody great, they can change your life. Yeah, so thank you for allowing us to have this conversation too. I just think it's super duper important. I really do. I think it's important for us to be able to level with each other on this plane and say, look, it's tough right now, and we're all doing the best we can to get through it. And if you made it this far, I just want to commend you. Really, truly. I mean, you've made it through some of the hardest days of this process, so I would love to see you pat yourself on the back. You know what I mean? Oh, look at that, Jolene. She said since she started Soul Shift, she's been able to slowly stop her antidepressants, which is huge. One of my closest friends has tried to stop her antidepressants for about 5 years, and at this point, she's just not able to. And we've had this conversation, and I was just like, you need to honor that this is what you need and stop trying to get yourself off of something that you know is really helping you. So everybody's on their own journey, and I think it's about us not judging ourselves and not judging each other. I really think that's what it comes down to, and just normalizing that whatever we need, we can figure that out, and we need to support each other in whatever that road looks like. Yeah, I'm proud of you, very, very, very much so. Okay, so let me bring it back to conjunction and talk about that. No, and if you're not stopping your antidepressants, maybe there's a reason not to stop. They are absolute miracles, and there are people in my life who wouldn't still be with me if it wasn't for their antidepressants. So I'm just going to say I think they're miraculous, and I really support those of you who work with those medicines to support you. I really do, and I will always tell you that. I have some loved ones who I probably wouldn't have if it wasn't for the miracle of those medicines. So thank you for being here and for being willing to be really honest and to support us, all of us in whatever part of this journey that we're on. Yeah. Now, the goal of conjunction, let's talk about that. As a coach, I always like to look at success. How do we know if we're doing this part right, Athena? Let me tell you, the way you know you're doing this part right, okay, is if you get through this process and you integrate the masculine and you integrate the feminine together in a good way, and you have all of July and all of August with me to do that, how do you know if you've done it right, is that at the end of this, you basically create a new form of you. Now that may sound weird, but let me explain what I mean by that. It's a weird reality in my life that I've been doing this work with you online for 10 years, and that you can go back and see videos of me from 9-10 years ago. It's really weird. I don't like to watch myself, so I really don't go back and watch things, because that would be weird. But every once in a while, an old video will come up on YouTube, and I'll kind of stumble on it. And what I realize is, what I'm telling you right now, I've been doing this every 12 months for about the last decade. I've been going through a shedding, you know what I mean? And I think it's been autonomic. It's this process of, and usually at this time of the year, where I go through and I say, okay, what can't come with me into the harvest, right? What do I need to let go of from this year in order to move forward and to find my footing and to stay optimistic and stay healthy and whole? And so what do I need to let go of? When I look back at videos and pictures and things of myself from 9 or 10 years ago, I really can see how there was a lot of exfoliation that needed to happen. And I feel younger, even though I'm not younger. I feel younger, I feel lighter, I don't feel as dense or weighed down by the energies, okay? So when I say that, right, like you can really see the difference. And like I haven't done any work to myself or anything. Like I haven't, like some people look different because they've had plastic surgery or things like that. Nothing has happened to me physically in the last decade. So when I look at so when I say you need to, each year you need to do this sloughing and become a new version of yourself through alchemy, I don't want that to scare you. It's not like you're really becoming someone new and nobody's going to recognize you. I'm talking about spiritual exfoliation. I'm talking about getting rid of what you've been carrying. And if you can do it once a year or every 6 months, it won't be as catastrophic. The first time you exfoliate, right? It's a big deal. You can really feel it's like, ooh, gosh, and it feels scary. Like, am I going to become somebody new? Am I really losing my memories? Am I going to lose my past? Once you realize that that's not at all what this is about, it's really just about letting yourself be lighter and not carrying a bunch of shit around. Then you start to look forward to the process of like, really? I don't have to carry my first marriage or the miscarriage I had or the shitty relationship or the abuse from my ex or the time I got fired or I don't have to carry that around or childhood abuse or whatever it is. You do not have to carry this around. And I really will tell you, I think it's the secret to physical health. I think it's the secret to energetic balance. I think it's the secret to the whole thing. And it's part of alchemy too. It's like alchemizing everything that's happened this year and literally saying, and I love that we have class tonight. Tonight's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We have 4 days ahead of the first harvest. I want you to commit tonight to not just looking at what you're going to put in here, but I want you to be honest about what you're not putting in here from this year. Okay? I looked older. It's okay to say that. I mean, I do. When you go back to like the San Francisco videos and stuff, I look older. I think I do anyway. And I was not. I was younger. I was 37, 38 years old, right? So, and I'm almost 50 now, right? So I think there's some real value to it, but it's kind of a weird thing having you guys see it almost in real time. Like it's a test. Like, do you see it? So tonight I want you to be honest about what you're not going to carry into this first harvest. Sunday needs to be a line in the sand for you. So what are you not bringing from January, February, March, April, May, June, and July? That shit's not going in your passion bag, okay? That shit's going in the compost. It's going to go get buried in your garden. So what I'm going to say is this. When we go through the bag of stones tonight, and I just set the intention that you would receive however many stones you're supposed to get, I'm going to put a certain number of these stones in my bag, what I am carrying forward this year. I know, Erica, look, it's the same challenge for me. I'm Libra rising, so it's like I can't make a decision to save my damn life. I'm also going to take a certain number of these stones. I'm going to name what it is I'm not carrying, and I'm going to bury them on llamas. And I'm going to say goodbye to them. Feel the weight of that? And this is how you stay buoyant, and this is how you stay light. I want it to be a conscious choice of everything. You mean this process you've been through this year, which you have paid for, not just financially, right, by paying for being in the class, but you've paid for it energetically, you've paid for it with tears, you've paid for it with sweat, right? I want you to dedicate a certain number. You don't have to decide right now, we'll do it as we go. And I want you to decide that that stuff isn't coming. And I want you to uninvite it to the party. And then whatever that number is, I'm going to bury it, and I want to encourage you to do the same. I'll probably do a little video of me burying mine and post that for you, or maybe I'll do it live on Sunday. So Charlene Leatherman, if you live in an apartment and you can't bury anything, if you don't have any like public ground where you could go stick your finger in and just put some stones in and cover it up, if you have nothing like that, one of the things I'd like to encourage you to do, and you don't have to do it right this week, Charlene, because I don't want to put pressure on you. This is parts of you or your life this year that you do not want to carry forward beyond the first harvest. This is the time to let that go. The first harvest is where you say, not all my crops are going to grow. And at some point, with some things, we do have to cut our losses. And that is the part of spiritual healing that people don't talk about. It's not just the gathering and the aligning and the, manifesting. It's the releasing and surrendering and honoring. And that's the stuff that keeps you young and easy, right? So in conjunction, so you are correct, Jessica. She said, I'm confused. In conjunction, I thought you said we can't throw anything away. So there's a difference between denying parts of you, right? Like, I'm not going to say, well, I'm not taking my anxiety. I don't want my anxiety. But what I can say is fear. Let me give you an example. One of the things that's not coming with me into the second part of this year, past the harvest, is the incredible anxiety that this pandemic has caused me and my family because of our immune status. That is not a part of me. That is an obstacle to my growth. And if I continue to carry that around, it's going to inhibit my growth for the rest of the year. Now, I'm not going to put my anxiety in the ground, because my anxiety sometimes is a teacher, and I have to learn how to manage that as part of who I am. But my worst case scenarioing around the pandemic, I do want to put that in the ground, because it's not serving me, and it can end up actually manifesting an outcome that I don't want. Do you understand the difference? So I'm not going to go, well, all my fear goes in the ground, or all my anxiety goes in the ground. No, you know what? My fear is not just my fear. It's in epigenetics. And so my grandparents were fearful people. And I can't just say I'm not going to carry fear around, because I have to learn how to integrate that, because it's part of who I am. It's part of who they were. It's part of my work. But I sure can take a certain kind of fear that I know is limiting me and say, I'm not doing that anymore. That fear is not going to go. Does that make sense? So, and you could look and say, well, I have anxiety. Okay, well, we need to learn how to manage that. And you can't just shed that and put that in the ground. But you could say, I have anxiety that I'm never going to find love in my life. Well, I think you can release the fear of being alone. Right? I think you can let that go. It's not letting all of your fears go or denying that you sometimes have fears in your heart. That's who you are. But I think you can let go of how would I distinguish between them? Things that are temporal or contextual, you know what I mean? And also things that you know fundamentally are not true, right? I think those are things that we can release without karmic consequences. But I'm not going to go and put my, I'm not going to go and put all of my anxiety into the earth. Does that make sense? Just certain things that are too heavy for me to carry around. I'm not going to carry those anymore. Just like I'm not going to carry around resentment of someone for something that they did or something that they said. I'm not going to reintegrate that. I don't have to carry that around. It's not even mine. Some things that I'm going to bury, that I'm not going to carry into the harvest, have nothing to do with me. It's things I see out in the world. And so those things don't have to be part of my journey. But things that are core to who I am, things that are core to my essence, those things I can't deny. Is it Sarah or a star? That's a good way of thinking about it for those of you who habla español, right? The things that are ser, the things that are core to who we are, have to be integrated. The star, the things that are temporal and that change, right? Those we can bury and release. If you speak Spanish, that might be a really good analogy for you. I don't know why I changed the camera just then. It's the Sarah or a star. So what you bury is the object or the thing letting go of, but the actual anxiety will stay. In a way, I think that's a really beautiful way of putting it. Let go of the thing, but not the part of you that relates to the thing. Because the ultimate message is there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. But if you're holding something that isn't yours, or if you're tethered to an idea that isn't serving you, or to, if you're being bogged down by something in a relationship that isn't serving you, those things can be released, I think, with no consequences. Yeah, it's the temporal things, not the permanent things about you, right? My anxiety helps me sometimes. Sometimes it does, because it keeps me in the present moment, and I've noticed that. Like when I get nervous, sometimes that's a helpful thing, right? Because I'm right here, I'm in the moment, and so at least it keeps me embodied. But when I'm anxious about something too much, or focus on something too much, I need to let it go and release it sometimes. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with you. So when we want to let something go, I think it's good to look at it and say, is this something core to who I am, or is this something that's happening to me in the moment that really isn't serving my higher consciousness? As a coach, the way we thought about this was, is this whatever you want to release, is it something that would still be bothering you? You know, if something's really bothering you, is it going to bother you a week from now, 7 days, 7 months, 7 years, right? If it's something core to who you are that still might be relevant to you 7 years ago, 7 years from now, maybe you should keep it. If it's something that you think, no, 7 months from now, this isn't even going to be relevant, let it go. Put it in the earth, right? A bickering with your partner, anxiety about the pandemic, anxiety about your performance at work, right? Like these are temporal things. And if they're really weighing you down, it's probably best to let them go. Anxiety about whether you're a good parent or not. These are just things that bog you down and aren't really going to be part of your solution. Yeah. Vanya said, can we say releasing feelings, emotions, frequencies that are obstacles on your path to growth? And as long as they are not core to who you are. Again, I don't want to release my anxiety because sometimes it's a teacher. I do want to release my anxiety about our present global health circumstances, because that's not helping me envision a good solution or outcome. It keeps me in a lower frequency, and it prevents me from being a healer of the collective. Does that make sense? Yeah. Your work identity. Yeah, so if you're, or anxiety of your son's police job, right? Again, having some anxiety allows you to care for him and be active in your care for him. Having a lot of anxiety about his job could prevent you from sleeping at night, right? So there's a fine line there, and you have to decide. So some of that anxiety is just your natural unconditional love for your child. Well, you don't want to release that. That's beneficial to you, beneficial to him. You staying up at night worrying about him being on the job needs to be let go, because ultimately that's going to get in the way of you leading a healthy, productive, and peaceful life, in my opinion. Does that make sense? Is it kind of, I mean, this is not a yes, no, right, wrong, in, out, kind of like cut and dry, it all makes sense. It's a line for you, right? But it's like, if you are having chronic health problems, let's put it this way, you are holding on to stuff on some level that needs to be released. And your body is telling you, in soft and in aggressive ways, probably, that you are carrying some shit around that is not serving you. If you have pain or chronic illness, your body's already telling you that this is what you need to do. If you are 30 and you feel like you're 80, your body's already telling you this is what you need to do. So this week becomes an invitation now to take the action to release and to let go. But the core of who you are, and that's why I come back to this, the core of your masculine and the core of your feminine need to be there. And so tonight I want to begin to break down, what is your core? What is the core of who you are? What is your masculine king and your feminine queen? And you might want to give them names. When you start to think about your masculine, let's divide the line, okay? This is basically the foundational work for our crafting for tonight. Yeah? It's been 84 years. I know. And notice what side your pain's on, right? Because if your pain is on the right side of your body, that's the masculine, right? And if the pain is on the left side of your body, that's the feminine. Where's your pain? Is it on the right side? My pain is often on the right side of my body. So usually there's a masculine energy to my pain. My pain tends not to be on the feminine. When I travel to feminine places, my pain disappears. When I travel to masculine places, my pain gets stronger. Have you ever tracked that for yourself? Because every place on the earth has either a positive or negative, meaning masculine or feminine charge, right? Your masculine's name is Max. So starting to identify, okay, so I have pain on the masculine side, that already tells you that the masculine king energy in you needs to be acknowledged, and you need to figure out what parts of the masculine you can integrate and what parts of the masculine need to be released so you can set them free, and then they don't have to live in your muscles, they don't have to live in your bones and your tendons and your spinal cord. It's really true. When people tell me they're in pain, the first thing I ask them is what sides is it on? And if they say it's on both sides, then that tells me a whole different story about integration for them. That they have challenges on both sides of that line that need to be acknowledged. And then we can start looking at lineage and epigenetics. And it's never a surprise, right? When you go back in your timeline and you realize, okay, if I'm carrying a lot of this, it's because, like in my family, the masculine did not pull its weight. In every single generation, it's been the women who carried the water in my family. So, and I carry a lot of the water in my family. Okay, so how do I balance that, right? What do I need to do in order to give the masculine back more of the work so that they start to take up their fair share, and it's not just the women in the line who are doing the heavy lifting, because that's why all of us have had pain, and that's why all of us, there's a lot of osteoporosis. The women in my family end up walking like this, you know what I mean? Like, that's not an accident. But if you were to look at every woman in my family, they look like, I mean, if you look at pictures of them, they look like they've been, I don't know, I mean, working 7 days a week, carrying heavy shit for 100 years. It's not a glamorous life being a woman in my line. It's hard ass work, right? So there's a lot of reconciliation in my lineage around giving the masculine its work to do. So it's not just the feminine carrying all the water, right? So let's talk about how to fix it. So tonight begins the energetics of repair, okay? And people will say, well, just making a bag and acknowledging through stones and stuff is not a big deal. Okay, but at some point we begin the process energetically of saying, this is what is allowed with me, this is what is not allowed, this is what my masculine needs to do, this is what my feminine needs to do, these are the energies that I'm asking my masculine to take up, these are the energies I'm asking my feminine to take up. I'm constantly trying to give the feminine in my body permission to relax, and asking the masculine in my body to step up and do the heavier lifting. And that seems to be creating some balance because my pain has eased over the years. Yeah, so and Bonnie's noticing right ankle for her, but left shoulder blade. So then we notice there's imbalance and balance in there at the same time, because you can look at the masculine and feminine, but you can also look at the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere of your body too. Right, and again, the northern hemisphere of your body is masculine. The southern hemisphere of your body, from the heart chakra down, is feminine. And so it's, however you look at the energies, there's always a yin and a yang. There's always a masculine and a feminine. I'm so glad this is interesting to you and helpful. So let's begin the process tonight. Because everything begins with intention. Everything begins with energy. Once we acknowledge all of these things, you'll start to see your body work it out. It's almost like your body needs you to acknowledge. What's that title of that book? Your Body Keeps the Score. Your body keeps track of what doesn't get reconciled in the energetic field. And then people are like, how did I end up with, fill in the blank health disaster, right? And it's because, on some level we ignore the energetics of it. And now there's something here in the physical that we have to deal with, right? How do you know if a place is masculine or feminine? Sometimes you can ask energetically. It's interesting because I think of Hawaii as being an exceedingly feminine place. And there's a sister in our group who just got married in Hawaii, Danielle, and she is somebody who experiences physical pain through her health. And she was commenting in Facebook about how on her honeymoon, when she goes to Hawaii, she doesn't have any pain. When I go to Hawaii, I don't have any pain. Even if I'm having terrible nerve pain, I get off the plane, I have no pain, and I don't have pain until I get back on the plane. And then halfway through the flight, my pain comes back. Well, it's because that for me, when I'm in Hawaii, because it's so incredibly powerful and feminine, I'm being held there. And so my whole body relaxes, and I think it just realigns my central nervous system. And then when I get on the plane to leave, it's like everything goes back to the imbalance, right? So there are places, and sometimes you can tell, like your body becomes the metric of it, right? Your body becomes a gauge of the energetics, and you can reconcile that, right? Yeah, it's very interesting. And even my husband knows, like, he'll say, when we used to go to Hawaii all the time, which was a couple of years ago before the pandemic, he would say, oh, you're having pain, like, don't worry, we'll be going to Hawaii before too long. Because he just knew as soon as I got there, pain would be gone. And then he would always say, oh, it sucks, we have to go back tomorrow, right? Because I knew as soon as I got on the plane, the pain would be back. It's fascinating, isn't it? So certain places in the world, I think, hold these frequencies, and if you become especially sensitive to them, I think of Los Angeles, where I live, as excessively masculine, and that may be part of the problem. It may be that at some point in my life, I need to live in a more feminine place and less masculine. Although I live near water, the masculinity in LA is hard to deny, and it throws everything out of balance. Yeah. So I'd be curious to know more about where you live and whether you feel like you can use your pendulum to dowse, right? And kind of ask yourself about the energies, and is it more masculine or feminine? Is it like that for me anywhere else? I'm trying to think, not to the extent that Hawaii offers that. I'm trying to think of other places in the world. Australia. Australia had that same effect on me. I spent quite a few weeks there when the kids were really small, because I traveled there for work a lot. And Australia had the same effect. I would have nerve pain. I would arrive in Australia, pain's gone. I would get on a plane to come back, pain's back. So I don't know if that means that Australia is feminine, but I definitely feel like Australia has the same sort of healing frequency that Hawaii does. Interesting you say that, Karen Brown, because I've spent a lot of time in Chicago. I feel like it's pretty balanced too. San Diego is extremely healing. Mexico. But not all parts of Mexico. Mexico City is very masculine, but my favorite parts of Mexico are Jalisco and Oaxaca and Guerrero and some of the lower states, and that's a very feminine part of Mexico. Yeah. But then if you're up in La Ciudad, or if you're up in Sonora, it's very masculine. From the city north in Mexico, it's very masculine for me, but from the city south, and I usually go to the south because that's my favorite part. Interesting. Bonnie said Mount Shasta, other than Hawaii, has helped her. And you know what? That totally makes sense to me. I would think of Mount Shasta. I haven't been there. I've been invited because we have a customer whose family owns a crystal shop in Shasta. I just haven't been able to get there. But yeah, Jalisco, Oaxaca, Guerrero, Puebla, all of those places in Mexico have a very feminine healing energy to me. Paris is very feminine. I agree with that. I do. I think of Germany and Switzerland as being more on the masculine side, but I think there's different parts of Germany and Switzerland that can be more feminine. In the U.S., it's interesting because I think of the U.S. as being very masculine overall. I do. I think there's certain parts of the U.S. that are more feminine, but I think of Canada as being quite feminine. I do, especially Quebec. I think of Quebec as being quite feminine in Canada. Yeah. Lena's asking, would I say that fatigue is a malady of the soul? It's a really powerful question. I think fatigue primarily comes when we are flexing. Let me briefly explain what I mean by that. When we are not in alignment with our higher purpose, we get very tired, right? So the more you can do things that are aligned to, I think, why you're here on the planet, the more natural sources of energy you're going to end up having. The more you are flexing, meaning doing things to please people, doing things because you have to, trying to stay on a schedule. All of those things are flexing, and when you're flexing, you have to expend extra energy because it's not natural to you, and I think that ends up draining you. Yeah, that's my best answer to that. When I'm tired, it's usually because I'm either on somebody else's schedule or I'm doing something that isn't aligned to what I'm here to do, and I get exhausted by that. And then it takes me a couple of days of being on my own frequency and doing things that are in alignment before I get my energy back, right? Well, if your fatigue has lasted for years, you've probably been flexing for years. I think of my mom. You can tell whether people have lived on their terms or someone else's terms by how they age. My mom, for most of my life growing up, did everything for everybody else but not for herself. And it always wounded me a little bit because I saw the toll that it took on her. And she's ended up with a lot of health challenges and a lot of pain in her spinal column. People with pain in the spinal column, you have to know, that's your central channel that holds your chakras. You end up with pain and disease in the spinal column. That to me is a red flag for energetic imbalance. That just tells me that's somebody who has been living life for somebody else for a long time. And eventually that shows up in the spine. That has been the case for my mom. That was the case for my dad's mom. But these are women who did not live life on their terms for themselves. These are women who, and God bless them, did everything for their family, put everything on the line for their kids, for their partner, for their grandchildren, you know what I mean? And did not do what they needed to do to take care of themselves. And, holy, holy, holy. I mean, it's a sacrifice that leaves you in awe, right? Of like how people will live life completely for other people. But then you see the toll that takes, right? That they wear themselves out early because they're not putting themselves first. And that's why I'm constantly telling people, I know it may feel selfish, but you really do have to take care of you. Like even you being in class right now and thinking about yourself and what you need and what you're going to keep and what you're going to release and who you are and what the core of your essence is and how you honor it. Like even the fact that you're doing this work tonight is an absolute gift to you, because just the act of thinking about it is going to adjust your frequency. My mom would never have asked herself these questions. She would have said, I'm too busy for this. I'm too busy. I've got too much going on. It's not about me, right? And it wasn't about her, but now it is about her, and there's nothing she can do, right? Does that resonate? So I think this is a paradigm shift for women where we can say, no, I can take care of you guys, but that doesn't have to come at the cost of my actual spinal column. You know what I mean? Like I can help you, I can love you, I can support you, but that doesn't mean that I have to end up in a wheelchair because I didn't take care of myself, right? It doesn't mean that I have to literally end up with spine warping, osteoporosis. I can do both. I can be in service to my family, but I can also hold my energy. And so if your back is full of arthritis, I'm just saying there's a connection. There's a relationship between the energies and the physical manifestations. And it's not necessarily causal. It's not like if you take care of other people too much, you're going to end up with back problems. But I'm saying there's a connection. I've seen too much of it in my lifetime and it's a generational thing, right? And at the end of the day, you being healthy and comfortable in your body is really your goal, right? Nobody's going to complain about you taking care of yourself if it means you're around longer to enjoy life with them, right? You got to fill up your own chalice, darling. Isn't that interesting? Meg says her dad has zero pain in his back. Same with mine. My dad has no spinal column issues. My mom is all spinal column issues. But my dad always took care of himself. No matter if we were sick, and I'm not judging him, by the way, I think it's fantastic. Even if we were sick, he still went for his run every morning. No matter what we needed, that man was going to, eat his healthy breakfast and go for his run, and then he would be there to help us and serve us. But he always put his mask on first before he helped us. And it didn't look selfish to me. It looked like he was taking care of himself. And now at 80, almost 82 years old, like I have this really healthy, vibrant parent still in my life. And he set a real powerful example for me. Like, yeah, you know what? Like, maybe I can take care of myself and still be a good parent. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's not all this and all that, right? So, take a moment right now. Just close your eyes for a moment. Roll your shoulders. You know, in Kundalini Yoga, we would do a little like twisting and breathing. When you want to exhale through your mouth, right? Just notice your spinal column, notice your shoulders, notice your back, right? Like come into awareness of your breath. Where in your body do you hold tension and stress? And just notice, don't even think about where you normally have pain, right? Just notice right now any heaviness or discomfort in your body. Close your eyes. And what side is it on? I just have a little tightness and it's on the right side. Noticing. And now visualize, bring all of your focus and your energy to that space. And imagine breathing with that part of your body, like inhaling and expanding that place where you have some tension, and then exhaling and contracting it, and then inhaling and expanding it, and then exhaling and contracting it, inhaling it. Focusing, every ounce of your attention, don't pay attention to me, just focus on wherever you have tension, even minor tension in your body right now. Inhale, expand it, exhale, contract it, and now notice it again. A little bit softer, right? A little bit looser. And now I want you to imagine going a little bit deeper into that little pocket where you have tension. And I want you to ask it, what do you need? What do you need from me? You little pocket. What do you need from me? What are you trying to tell me? What am I not hearing? See if you receive some wisdom there. Again, this is my masculine speaking to me, right? This is my right side, which is my masculine side. And what I'm hearing from that little pocket in the middle of my back is, I don't want to have to control it so much. I don't want to have to control so much. And so let me give that little part of my back permission. Like, you don't have to control it. Just surrender. It's okay. Just release. And then again, breathe for it. Inhale and again, inhale and exhale. And just imagine just softening and loosening. You don't have to control. You don't have to hold. Right? And just, for a lot of you, this might be the first time you're dialoguing with a place in your body that is contracting. And then there's 1,000 things on the crystal healing side that we can do, right? To go in and do psychic surgery and pull energy out. But I'm just dealing on the energetics of it right now, right? Do you feel a little loosening? I feel a little loosening. It's not a complete release of the tension that's there. Do you feel it? And how your body just like is almost in gratitude that you're even asking. Like, ooh, she's curious, like why I'm tight there. She's paying attention. He's noticing. Like, this is interesting, right? What do you need? How can I help you? What are you showing me? And like, it's softening for me in a really powerful way. It's really softening. And imagine if you could keep giving that love to that place, right? I see you. I've got you. We don't have to do this. I'm understanding. I'm acknowledging. I'm holding you. You don't have to be so tough, right? You don't have to. You can soften. It's okay. And it might sound silly, but this really, your body is listening. It is this simple, right? And it's important to learn because you don't have to get in there and really massage it and work it, and you don't even need crystals for this. Energy work happens first on the energetic level, then we can work with allies, right? You feel a little bit of a softening, right? It wants you to stop putting off your wellness and get it looked at. Yeah, it's like, pay attention to me. Pay attention to me, right? Yeah, there's a small voice in each one of these places of contraction, and it's really just waiting for us to listen. Pretty powerful stuff. So in line with this, so let me just finish the rest of my notes, and then we'll work on our little pouch, right? Yeah, you never really know, right? But you know what's really cool about what we're talking about right now, you guys, and this is why I love the work that we do, is you're still figuring out who you are. You're still figuring out what you're about. You're still figuring out how to do this body thing. And without these moments of stopping, oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Without these moments of stopping and listening and paying attention, you'll just keep going. Because that's what we do. You'll get up tomorrow and do the same thing again. You'll get up Friday and do the same thing again. You'll get up this weekend and do the same thing again. But your sweet body is there going, are you listening to me? Right? And again, I talked about animals not being able to say when they need help. Your body, other than pain, can't tell you when it needs help. So listen, talk to it back, right? It's okay. Yeah, that's good stuff. Okay. So the goal is to find refuge inside of you. The goal of alchemy is to find refuge inside. Yeah. My dad is super chill. My dad is super chill. My dad is the one who's taught me to chill the fuck out. My mom is a stress mess, right? But we always have these yin-yang influences in our life, right? Dave and I are very different parents, right? He's he's the clock, and he's the, kind of the law, and I'm the soft, and I'm the easy, and I'm the go with the flow, right? And we're both teaching our kids, like, go with the flow, but get your shit done. Go with the flow, but get your shit done, right? They have these models, and my parents were that too. But you have to have both of those within you too. There has to be part of you that tells your own body it's okay to go with the flow. It doesn't have to be so hard all the time. It can be easy too. It's really good stuff. So the goal is to find a refuge within you. A deep integrity in your own body. Integrity meaning united, right? An integrating of both. The yes, the no, the easy, the hard, the soft, the tense, the masculine, the feminine, right? The goal is to find integrity. Communion, right? Again, this and this co-joined. A tether to what is both human and immortal. So something in you that reminds you, yes, you're alive, you're living, and that's worth doing. And then a part of you that's like, you have a soul that will never die. This isn't your first time on this planet. You'll probably come back here again some other time. So try to go easy and enjoy the ride, right? It's just a ride. It doesn't really mean anything, right? As soon as this life is over, you're going to go back to the one source and integrate everything you learned here. You're just here to learn and experience and experiment and to be a force of beauty in this place, and then you'll go home, right? So like putting things in perspective. Yeah, so left and right. So the way you remember is your left brain is your objective, mathematically oriented side of your brain. and that's the masculine, and that corresponds to the opposite side of your body. So the right side of your body corresponds to your left brain, and that's your objective hemisphere of your brain. The right side of your brain is more of the subjective, artistic, creative, and that's aligned to the opposite side of the body on the left side. So the left side connects to the right side of the brain, which is subjective, feminine, and the right side connects to the left hemisphere of the brain, which is more objective, masculine. Yeah, left logical, right, what's a good R word for the right side? Rip roarin'? I don't know. What's a good R word for creative, right? So left logical is the right side of the body. Right rip roarin' is your left side. It's the best way I could explain it, yeah. Yeah. And I will tell you something, like even if you have a parent, you know, say I was saying she wanted to share this with her mom, like if you have a parent who's in chronic pain, it's really nice to introduce this to them. And when they say, oh, you know, my right knee always hurts, it's like, well, let's talk to your right knee and see what your right knee needs, you know? That's on the masculine side. So what's it holding that's too much for it? Like, let's just give it permission to let it go, right? Renaissance, romantic. I don't know where I was going with rip roaring. Recreational. I like that word a lot. That's fun. She's recreational, everyone. That little lady. Inner feminine, right? Rebellious. Yeah, so your right brain is recreational and rebellious, and your left brain is logical and loopy. Okay, so, and by the way, the goal of all of this is a new level of conscious awareness for you. That you don't look at your life the same way anymore, right? And if you're going through a really tough time in your life, you can look at that and say, this is not going to last forever. How do I move through this in a way that gives my body permission to soften? So it doesn't have to be so hard on my physical body. This thing can only take so much. Your soul can take a lot, but this thing has limits. So how do we make it easy for this? You know what I mean? How do we tell this, like, it can be softer, it can be slower, it can be easier, it can be sweeter, you know? Those were all good words. Okay, so I'm going to teach you, there's 2 mantras in Kundalini Yoga that I think are helpful for this work. You're probably familiar with both of them. Sat Nam is one of my favorite mantras, and it's one of the most important mantras in Kundalini Yoga. Sat means truth, and Nam is name. So Sat Nam literally means my name is truth. And it's not so much about your name being truth, it's more about honoring the truth of your spirit and your soul. And it's a very, very, very powerful mantra for connecting to the core essence of who you are. So if you don't mind, I would like to recite Sat Nam 108 times, and then we'll work on our passion bags together. Because what Sat Nam, the recitation of Sat Nam 108 times, infuses every soul in your body with this affirmation that there's nothing wrong with you, that who you are is true, that the core and the essence of who you are is welcome, right? Everything about you is accurate. And there's something in your body, yeah, Sat Nam. So S-A-T is the first word, S-A-T, and Nam, N-A-M. I made a perfume called Sat Nam about like 4 or 5 years ago, and I never made it again, or maybe once I made it one more time. And there are people who literally will post a picture of their little empty bottle like, please make more Sat Nam. I just haven't been inspired to make any more since we did that. But Sat Nam, I have friends who sign their emails Sat Nam. You know, I think it's beautiful. It's a salutation. It literally means my name is truth, right? But it's not about your name. It's about you honoring that who you are in its existing form is perfect. that you are truth. There's nothing, in other words, that needs to be shifted or changed, right? It's a beautiful mantra in Kundalini Yoga for coming home to yourself, and that's what we're doing today with the work that we're doing. So are you ready? Okay. So we're going to say Satnam 108 times. If you don't have a mala, that's okay. I'm counting for you. And so we begin, I always begin on the left side because I'm right-handed. So I'm going to count for you. And so just say Satnam with me. Satnam 108 times. You ready? Deep breath in. And here we go. Satnam, 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 Satnam. And really feel it when you say it. Don't just say it. Really feel the words. Satnam, 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 Satnam. What does it mean for you to be truth? Satnam, 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 Satnam. Om. Shanti, 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 Om. That felt good, didn't it? The nice thing about your mantras is you have them with you all the time, right? So keep them all near you, or even if you just say it a few times each day. It doesn't have to be the whole 108, right? Even if you're sitting and you're stressing out and you're not sure what to do, or you're in your car and you're like, what do I do? Satnam. And just have it bring you back, right, into that present moment. Interesting. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. I love Taria. So beautiful. She's saying that she usually has this tension, and she's been speaking to it. And she said when she tries to stand straight, there's tension in her mid-back, but right now it's gone. Interesting, right? No, it's not all in your head. You and your body are in a constant dialogue. The thing is, most of the time you're not listening. Today you're listening, right? Usually your body is like, knock, 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 and you're like, yeah, 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 we gotta go, and you're like, and your body's like, no, 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 I'm hurting, and you're like, no, no, I don't have time for that. Here's an Aleve, right? It's your poor body trying to get your attention. So I'm grateful that you're here. I really am. Okay, so I'm gonna bring you over here now. To my situation. This is my situation. I'm gonna add my jojoba real quick to my perfume that we blended. That's not gonna take an hour, so hold on. Get that out of there. I don't want to use it undiluted because I really like the perfume from this month. So I want it to go pretty far. I probably put too much in there. That's right, baby. Pink Lotus magic over there. So what I want you to do is I want you to get your little bag. If you don't have a little bag and you want to do this with me, here's what I'm going to tell you to do. Get an old t-shirt that you don't want anymore, cut a square of it. Or go cut up an old pillowcase, get a square of fabric somewhere. If you want to do this with me and you don't have the tools, I don't want you to not do it just because you don't have your tools, okay? And if you have some chipstones, like maybe from an old kit or maybe something in your crafting closet or something like that, just grab a couple of little stones and a little square of an old t-shirt or an old pillowcase or something like that. I see you, Janisa. Oh, really, Deanna? That makes me so happy. Of course it's not a coincidence, right? Yeah, so if you want to do this with me, just go grab something. Yeah, organza bag's great, Meg. Actually, that's the perfect thing. And go grab some chipstones. You know, don't overthink this too much, but if you want to do the activity, I would love to have you do it. And I guarantee you've got something. Get an old t-shirt and cut a square of something out of there. And you can use the bag that your crystals come in, whatever you've got, okay? Now, the herbs that came in your little crafting kit in here, I'm going to put some of them in. I'm not going to put all of them in. There's Damiana in here. There's rose. There's a little cacao for heart opening. There's some orange and some ginger and white sage and all the things. I'm going to put a little bit of it in just because I like to have the plant medicine, but I'm not putting a lot in. Because again, this is going to go in my pillowcase, so I don't want this to be really lumpy bumpy. I just want I want the energy of it. So I'm just going to thank these plants for the blessing that they're bringing, for the passion and desire and purification and the blessings. And then the oils that came in your little dram was just a little extra gift to you of goodies to include. There's orange in here. There's a little tiny bit of Damiana oil. So I'm going to save that and I'm going to work with my stones for that. Now, this is what I'm going to do for the exercise. And again, how you choose to do this is up to you. I'm just showing you how I'm doing it. There are carnelian triangles in here that you may want to save for crafting for other things. So I'm going to take those out. These were actually hand carved little for you for your kit in case you want to work with them for your wand or for other crafts. So I have a little craft drawer where I keep little tiny stones like that. So I'm going to save those. You can use them for this exercise if you want, but you have enough without it. So I'm going to choose to keep mine separate. Does that make sense? Okay. What oils can you use? I would love to see you working with Rose, Ylang Ylang. Obviously, Damiana would be really good. What else would be really good for this exercise? I like orange for this. The citrus family oils are really nice for this too. Jasmine's fantastic for this. Lavender would be really, really beautiful. Frankincense would be nice too. Yeah, so any of those, if you have those oils in your magic cabinet, would all be great. Patchouli would be real nice for this. No, the chocolate was just to give you a little cacao medicine because cacao is such a heart opener. You should have only gotten a little tiny dram of the oils pre-mixed, and that's this little one that did not have a name on it. So, and it's a blend that we made for you, just a little bit to give your little bag a little scent. Yeah. You smell the oil, the orange in it? It smells really yummy, doesn't it? So I'm gonna take the blend in my hand. I like to get dirty. So I just poured it in my hand and I'm rubbing it over the stones. You can, again, you can choose to do this however you want to do it. But my hand's real oily. M3 is nice for this. I like that. I like that a lot. If you have Damiana tea, break up one of your little Damiana tea bags and put it in here. That would be absolutely brilliant. I would love to see you do that too. I'm going to, just because I burn these candles all the way down, they're my favorite candles, I'm going to take one of these stones in honor of the work that we're doing tonight, and I'm going to put it into my candle. That way I know that the candle will hold the energy as it burns down. So, God, that smells really good. Do you guys like that little dram of oil? I'm a big fan of it. It's super pretty. It smells like candy and oranges and sex. Damiana is an aphrodisiac plant. It's actually illegal to sell it on Etsy, but Etsy's very conservative, extremely conservative, which is why I don't really sell on there anymore. But anyway, they consider it a controlled substance. I don't know that it actually is a controlled substance. It doesn't make you high if you smoke it or anything, but it makes you horny, which I guess if you're really conservative, that can be terrifying. I'm not so worried about it. Okay. Let's do one thing we're keeping, one thing we're letting go. Can we roll that way? So, and this is, let's start with one masculine energy about you, something masculine that you are reintegrating from the work of this year. Yeah, it's weird. Etsy's weird, you guys. That's a story for another time. But Etsy's real weird. I still shop there, but it's weird. From my masculine side, what I'm keeping is my strength, my perseverance. The fact that I never give up. No matter what happens to me, I just keep going. That's my masculine. I keep on trucking. From my feminine, I often want to let go of my worry. I tend to worry a lot, but I'm reintegrating that. I'm not going to bury that, right? My worrying can sometimes take the form of really deep care for people. Like when I worry about you, sometimes that's how I show you that I love you. So I am reintegrating my feminine worrying, but I'm reintegrating it into a higher vibrational form. I'm not going to worry about things I can't control anymore. I like that. Judith Walter said ambition. And now I'm going to pick one thing that I am letting go of. I am letting go of worrying about things I can't control to the point where it makes me crazy. So this is going to go right here, and these are going to be the stones that I bury. Does that make sense? Yeah, we're going to end up a few minutes over our time together. I hope that's okay. Not too much, but just a few minutes over. Okay. Masculine that I'm reintegrating. I can be really tough. I can. I can be really, I can be a perfectionist and I can be very demanding. But I'm integrating that because it's also helped me to build Sage Goddess. It's helped me to build my family. Like I have high expectations of people, and sometimes it helps them rise to the occasion. And I consider that toughness masculine. So Penelope, you might look at it as feminine, by the way. So however I want you to define it, but I'm reintegrating my toughness. My toughness doesn't have to mean that I don't cut people slack, but I can learn to love it because it creates structure and form. Something in my feminine that I want to reintegrate, that I've rejected before. Sometimes my feelings of unworthiness, I would say. That maybe I'm not good enough or not, I don't know, not smart enough, you know? Like I'm not enoughness. I always think of that as my feminine. I don't want to let that go because that keeps me humble. I think it's okay sometimes to think that we're not enough. Like none of us is perfect. But I'm not going to let it debilitate me. I'm not going to let it make me feel like I'm not worthy of love. Does that make sense? And then something I want to release is feeling unworthy of love. I do want to let go of that part of unworthiness, right? I am worthy of love. And I want to let go of all energies of unworthiness in love. That doesn't need to go with me on the journey. I can reintegrate my general feelings of unworthiness sometimes, but not being unworthy of love. Yeah, for sure, Michaela. Go put Sage in there, whatever feels good to you. I love that. Mad Helper says vulnerability. I'm going to borrow that one if you don't mind when I get back to my feminine. On the masculine, I want to reintegrate my desire, my physical desire. My desire for connection and sensuality and sexuality, I want to reintegrate that. In the past, you know, if you're a woman and you're too sexual, people judge you for that. So in the past, I've judged myself for it. I'm not as sexual as I was when I was younger, but I still have my mojo. On the feminine side, I'm going to borrow vulnerability from Mad Helper. I'm going to reintegrate my vulnerability because I think it's a superpower. I mean, again, vulnerability can make you question yourself, and that doesn't take it in the right direction. But vulnerability can also make you really relatable, that people understand you, right? I really want to let go of judgment of myself and others. That's something I love, that I'm a keen observer of people. And let's say I want to reintegrate that. I want to be able to see people and know who they are and understand them. But I do not want to judge people. I want to let people have the integrity of their experiences without forming a judgment about whether they're good or bad or otherwise. So I am going to bury that. I am reintegrating, so I'm just going to go through a little bit more quickly. I'm reintegrating. Oh, thanks, you guys. I see you too. I'm reintegrating on the masculine side, my anger. I get pissed. I'm a double fire sign. I get real pissed. But my anger is also my inner fire, and I don't want to lose that. So I want to maintain my capacity to hold anger without unnecessarily directing it toward myself or others. I want to be able to feel my feelings, but not direct them unnecessarily in judgment. I want to reintegrate my compassion, which does not have to be weakness. I want to reintegrate my, what else would I say? My resentment sometimes. Candidly, I get resentful sometimes because I feel at times in my life like I'm carrying more than I should have to. It might sound funny. But like, I'm a working mom, and my family kind of depends on me in a lot of ways, and I have a big community, and like sometimes it feels like a big weight on my shoulders, and I can feel resentful. But I want to reintegrate that sense and reframe it um, as ingratitude, that I get to hold and carry what I carry in my life. Not everybody gets to do what I get to do. And so I want to reframe that as gratitude for all that I get to do and hold. Yeah, I want to reintegrate I want to reintegrate ego, not from the place of I want to reintegrate ego with a sense of humility. Let's see. I want to be able to forgive deeply, more deeply than I ever have before. Let's see, what else do I need to reintegrate? Is there anything else I really want to let go of deeply too? I want to let go of expectations of others that prevent them from being fully who they are. So I'm going to bury that. How do I reintegrate anger and keep it balanced without the negative side of anger overtaking things? You stay in dialogue with it, right? What are you angry about, right? Is that your anger or someone else's anger? Is it anger or is it something else, right? Oh, I like that. Penelope says reintegrating perfectionism. Isn't that beautiful? Oh yeah. I'm going to do that one too. I'm going to reintegrate perfectionism. I want to reintegrate. I want to reintegrate being a bitch. I had to turn on the camera and look at you to say that. I want to reintegrate being a bitch. I'm not as bitchy as I used to be when I was younger, I think by a long shot. But sometimes my bitchiness helps me stay on task. It helps other people stay on task. It keeps it real. I know it's kind of a strong word to use. I still want to be kind of tough and hold a line and have boundaries. So this is my bitch stone. Ready to watch me put my bitch stone back in my bag? Here's my bitch. But I can be a better bitch. I don't have to be, I can be, let me define bitch. Having boundaries and being tough. It's going back in the bag. But I don't have to be a jerk, right? I can still be respectful. I can be bitchy, but I can have boundaries and be respectful. Okay, so that's what I'm going for. I had to look at you while I said that though. It's my boss bitch stone. I run a company. If you're a teacher or you own a company or you're in charge of people, you're gonna have to be a bitch sometimes. It's just how it goes. I hate to say it, but if I was teaching in business school right now, I'd be like, that's what you have to do sometimes. Okay, I feel content that I have integrated what I need to integrate. Thank you. Carolyn called it fierceness. Let me put a fierceness stone in there. Doesn't that look like a fierceness stone, Carolyn? Look at that. I'm integrating my fierce. My shadow side is, oh, jealousy. I get jealous. But I'm going to reintegrate that as being also able to celebrate other people's successes and joys as much as I would celebrate my own. Let's call it that way. Oh, beauty, I love that. Let's do that on the feminine side. I'm going to reintegrate my beauty. Because if I can see my beauty, it means I can see other people's beauty too, right? Assertive, that's right, Teresa Jolly. I like the B word because I like to co-opt language and take it back. My shadow is sometimes jealous, resentful, angry, bitchy, judgmental. So I think I've put all that in there. I think that's as bad as my shadow gets. I don't have a lot of other shadow stuff. So I think I have integrated everything I need to. And it smells really good. It's a good smelling bag. Did you smell your bag yet? I'm an integrated bitch. I like it. Look at that. I'm making real spiritual progress here. And now these 4 stones, these 4 stones right here are the ones I'm going to bury before Sunday. This is not going with me. These are the things that are part of me, but not serving me. And like I said, they're not core to my essence. Everything that's core to my essence, even the stuff I don't like about me, that I can be demanding, which I would consider my masculine. I can be very demanding. I want it all right now. But that can also serve me because I get a lot of stuff done. And I tend to get the best out of people, right? Being kinky is both. I don't know. It depends on how you define it, Kenneth. But that's my shadow. It reminds me of Suzanne Summers in her description of menopause. It's like itchy, bitchy, sneezy, whiny. That's my shadow. All those things. Did you guys get your shadow in there? You feel like your whole shadow, all the parts of you that you want to throw away are back in here again? So this now becomes, and you can add to this later if you want, this now becomes a physical representation of your reintegration. I don't put on a show for you, I will tell you that. I'm pretty honest. I mean, most people don't want to say what their shadow is. And it's like, look, I mean, I have one, you have one. It's good to acknowledge it. You're adding fears to your resume, I like that. So, great spirits, spirit guides, ascended masters, and light teachers and beings of all dimensions see us tonight as we acknowledge and integrate everything about who we are and release what is not core to our essence for the work of the season ahead. And together we say, Amen, Aho, and so it is. Oh, I like that. You're going to do that with the hidden compartment. Is there a little hidden compartment? I didn't see that. Or you might be talking about something else. I'm like, is there a hidden compartment, Sherry? What did I miss? The reality is, even if you didn't release anything, it's okay. And that was my point to you earlier. There's nothing wrong with you. Everything's right about you. I mean, truly. I would, if I was sitting in the room with you right now, I would say I would not change a thing about you. You might want to change things about you. I wouldn't change anything about you. I think you came in perfect. And maybe you've learned some things along the way that haven't helped you. Or maybe you got stuck. Maybe you got hurt and had trauma and you contracted on it. Is that your fault? No. So this is a place to bring really deep compassion, right? Back into the core of who you are. Because if you're not going to bring that compassion to you, I can tell you no one else is going to do it for you. It's nobody else's job to do this for you. Your partner's not going to fix this for you. Your kids are not going to fix this for you. Your siblings are not going to fix this for you. The only person who can do this work for you is you, right? And it does smell like orange, doesn't it? Yeah, if you have excess weight and you want to release that, then put the excess weight in one of the stones. I'll do that too. I don't want to carry around a bunch of excess weight that really is a result of trauma and pain, right? I gained weight during the pandemic that was nothing but stress. So all that little shitty, most of it I've lost, but I'm still holding on to a couple pounds of it. That's going in the dirt. That's this one right here, is shitty weight. In case you were wondering. Okay, so in the massage oil, which I don't have, but you do, What I would recommend is self-massage now through August, because again, we're continuing this work until August 31st in Soul Shift. Give a massage to someone you love. You'll be amazed at how massage is a healer in relationships. I massage Dave quite often. He likes more scratching than massage, but I get in there and work on him. Sometimes he returns the favor. Massage is very healing. Even with my kids, I'll take the oil and rub their hands or rub their feet. It's a beautiful way of connecting with people in your life. And it's a beautiful way if you're doing the massaging to be of service, you know. And it's a meditation too. When you start massaging someone and you really just have your hands on their skin and it's warm and you can smell the oils, and that's its own type of meditation. We're meant to be in physical contact with each other. That's why we have shooters and cooters and hands and tongues. Massage tips for me, remember that the spinal column holds your chakras. So I like to really focus on the back, on either side of the sushumna. And I like to begin by putting pressure at the base of the skull and then just bringing the pressure down and almost really visualizing the chakras as you do it, right? So when you're at the top here, you're close to the throat chakra, and then you bring it down to the more of the middle of the back and envision the heart, and then slightly lower at the solar plexus, and then slightly lower to the sacral chakra, and then bring it right down to just above your butt cheeks, and then bring it all the way back down to the top of the thighs and visualizing the root chakra, and just pushing your thumbs in at each one of those pressure points on either side of the spine is a really nice way of just moving the energy through the chakra system. And if your hands are not strong, that's not too taxing on the hands. If it's hard for you, you can use your knuckles to get in there, or you can use your elbows to get in there. But just giving a little bit of pressure at each one of those places feels really, really good. And then I like to take that same, once I'm through that and come all the way back up, then I like to come down to the shoulders. And again, just pressure points through down to the wrist, and then bring it through to each of the fingertips. Remember, you have chakras all the way through each one of your fingers. So just applying gentle pressure all the way to the fingertips, and then doing the same thing, coming down the right arm to the wrist, and then up to the pinky and the ring finger and the middle finger. Just gentle pressure. The sphere is really nice for that too, like I told you or taught you in Crystal Masters, right? So using the sphere to do that. A single terminated wand with a rounded end feels really nice too, to bring that tool through. If you've got somebody laying on their back as you're doing that, right, you can place the flame in the lower back, just sitting the flat end laying on their back with the point up, and then again bringing the energy through with your thumbs, right? Or running the sphere up and down the right side and up and down the left side. After that, it's just all intuition. But I really like to focus on the back, the arms, the wrists, and the fingers. And then don't ignore the feet, because again, there's chakras in your feet. So bring the pressure points down over the knee. And then when you get to the soles of the feet, what you want to do is do your pressure points all the way up through the soles of your feet, and then to each toe, right? Just to put pressure on each one of your toes. Just pressure. It doesn't have to be a full massage, but just moving the energy through feels really, really good. I ordered something from Amazon. It's a fascia. I'll have to find it. You have to be very careful with it because you can bruise yourself really bad. But it's this wooden tool, and it's got all these knots on it, and you roll it over the body, and it literally is like, it like rolls through the muscles, but you have to be very gentle with it because you can end up bruising somebody really badly. So, but that feels really good too, and you can do that on your own arms and your own legs. But if you roll that up and down again, you don't want to touch the spine. The spine is very sensitive, and you can cause some damage there, but you want to be on either side of the spine, up the right side and up the left side too. And then get the ears. That always feels really good. Yeah, baby. Yeah, it's like a fascia turbo. You gotta watch out. I really like it because I like deep tissue massage. I'm a no joke girl. Like, I kind of want the person to beat on me a little bit, but you can really end up bruising somebody. So yeah. Was this helpful for you guys? It hurts really bad. So if you're very sensitive, if you're like me and you're a deep tissue person, it'll be right up your alley. If you're somebody where you're like the lightest pressure you could do, don't even look at that. You won't like it. It's not good for you. Oh, look at that. Kimberly says she's been a registered massage therapist since 1991. She's not practicing and now she needs a massage therapist. I'm not a massage therapist, but I will come and rub you. All right, so with that, session 4 and our work for July, can you believe it, is complete. Let me look it up real quick. I'll show you. I ordered it on Amazon. I'll pull it up and show you. I'm just saying you got to be really careful because I only used it once on myself and I was like, ooh, I can take it. And this was a lot. It is called, hold on. My Amazon account is tied to Sage Goddess's Amazon account and that my team uses. And so it's just a shit show now. I can hardly find my, my purchases anymore. Yeah, this is what I bought. Hold on, let me show you. It's called a Luxy Live Premium Fascia Cellulite Muscle Massager. Fat Fascia Blasting. Luxy Live? I don't know. Go slow with it. Don't hurt yourself with that thing, baby. Isn't it fun? So now you have your little pillow. Like I said, I kept mine kind of narrow and not very full because it's going to go in my pillowcase. And my intention is, you know, in dream time we do a lot of metaphysical work, right? That's when our spirit guides have the most access to us. So in dream time, I'm hoping that I'll be integrating all of these parts of myself back in, right? It is a torture device, but I like it. Oh, I love it so much. So well, here's what I'll say. If you are burying some things before midnight on Sunday, llamas, before the first harvest is what I recommend. So you can bury them tonight, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, or any time until the end of the day on Sunday. Bury them to the east, if you can. If you live in an apartment and you do not have a place to bury stones, I'm going to really highly recommend that you get a pot and some soil. You can get it on Amazon, and just pick a plant that you can't kill, like pothos or something, right? So that you at least have a source of dirt that you can bury things in your home. Just get yourself a houseplant. Because if you had a houseplant, then you could bury these in the houseplant. You don't need to go outside to do that. But that's why magical people at least need to have a houseplant or a little plant on their patio. Get a succulent. You can't kill succulents. I mean, you can, but you have to really try hard to kill a succulent. If you kill a succulent, you like get an award for killing a succulent. It does get rid of cellulite. I got rid of my cellulite though with a dry brush. I had cellulite in my 20s. I started dry brushing. I don't have cellulite now. And I wear bikinis when we go to the beach and stuff. I mean, I don't have the best figure in the world, but I don't have cellulite. And I did have cellulite in my 20s. So if you dry brush every day and you use the right essential oils like birch and orange and lemon and thyme, you'll get rid of your cellulite in a natural way. Yeah. Yeah, because when you give it to the plant, it really is the earth holding it. It isn't just in your home. You know what I mean? It is buried. I think of that as just as effective as burying it in the backyard. You've killed a succulent, Alexis? What the hell were you doing? Did you water it too much? You got to ignore it. Don't even look at it, right? Yeah, if you overwater your succulents, you'll get into some trouble. Yeah, put it in your hibiscus. That's exactly Marie. Marie, if you've got a hibiscus in your house, go for that. I have a friend in Boston who grows hibiscus in her house. I'm always like, how do you do that? I can barely grow a hibiscus here in Southern California. She's got huge hibiscus plants in the middle of Boston, Massachusetts. The things can be done. The elemental cards in your kit are for you to use however you would like to use them. They're the same size as your other oracle cards from SG, so I'm going to be putting it with, I've been collecting all of our oracle cards from the full moon, the new moon last year, So these for me are just going to go in that deck, and I use that sometimes. In fact, I thought about using it for readings today. I'll probably will use it for readings for you in August. You know, the plant medicine cards and the goddess cards that we've been doing and all of that. So you can incorporate those into that. Because it has your mantras for the elements. So water is I feel, fire is I ignite, earth is I embody, and then air is I speak. And those are your air goddess. We spend so much time on the art for this. We're like, does she look like an earth goddess? Does she look like an air goddess? So I hope you liked them. We spent a lot of time on them. Good. I'm so happy. I'm really glad you guys did this work with me tonight. It's the first part of the work. And then next month is the alchemical marriage. And so that is when we will be focusing more on Kundalini energy and more on physical desire and passion. Tonight I wanted to balance this straight up masculine and feminine, but next month we have to look at how those two energies begin at your root chakra and wind up and connect at your crown. So we're going to do a Kundalini meditation next month, and then and we'll be carrying that energy through. And then at the end of August, we switch to the second to last phase of alchemy, which is pretty crazy as we work toward the end of the year. A lot of our jewelry is delayed because of the pandemic. We're working on it. The singing bowls are delayed because of the pandemic, because people got COVID and couldn't work on the bowls. It's a crazy time in our world right now, but we'll keep you posted. All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Alexis, as always, for being there. I appreciate you. Thank you all for being here and doing the hard work of this month. I really appreciate it. Yeah, the crystals I was using were pretty much all carnelian and quartz. Yeah, but you could use others. You could use moonstone for this. You could use calcite for this. Clear quartz is always good because clear quartz can behave as if it's any other stone, right? So when in doubt, always use clear quartz because it's programmable. So I hope that's helpful. And yeah, super great to be with you guys tonight. All right, so tomorrow is Perfume Around the World. I hope you're excited. We go to Egypt. Class is at 3 o'clock. Do I have that right? Let me look at my calendar. Class is at 3 o'clock, 3 to 5. It's probably going to be 3 to 5:30. I have a lot to get to. So for the first half hour of class, I'm going to be teaching you about scent as a sense and vibration and frequencies. So, and then for the next hour to 45 minutes to maybe, well, 45 to an hour, I'm going to be focusing on the history of Egypt. And particularly I'm going to be focusing on priests and priestesses and the use of oils in temple protocol ceremonies. And I'm also going to be talking about death and funerary practices in ancient Egypt. And then for the second hour, we're going to be blending the mastic and the myrrh and the blue lotus into a perfume. So that's happening tomorrow from 3 to 5:30. And then Sunday we have Lammas starting at 6. I can't wait to take you to Egypt tomorrow. Isn't it fun? So I will hopefully see you then. And if not, I will see you on Sunday for Lammas for First Harvest. You're so welcome. I'm excited too. All right, have a great rest of your evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. And I will see you soon. Oh, and don't forget, you have till midnight to enter to win the drum. So make sure you're commenting on that post.